Hey Lou, what starts with T, ends with T, and has T in it? Teapot. Wasn't that funny, was it? That's okay, Lou. Let's get it done. He had a hard time on old Boyard Hill, Bob Lawson Hill this morning. Ralph Waldo Emerson apparently said, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is a great accomplishment." And while I understand that from a secular standpoint, I think I most understand it from a Christian standpoint, because I know that I've been called to be born again. I'm called to be something else, not to be my old self, but to be something different from the world. We should be peculiar to the world if we follow God. If Christ is our centerpiece, we should be something different. And to be ourselves, to be our true selves, who we want to be, the Christian that we want to be, in a world that's constantly telling us to do things its way, constantly telling us to manage our money its way, to manage our relationships its way, to define the world in its way, instead of the way that God would have us define it, instead of the way that God has defined it for us. And it's important to understand that. So certainly I understand the idea behind Emerson's quote, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make me something else is a great accomplishment." I have 5 daughters, and I understand different attitudes, I understand different personalities, I understand different drives and goals, and I've never sought to steal away anybody's, either my children or any other person that I meet, even though our tendency is to try to make somebody like us. We want people, well, if you were just more like me, if you agreed with me more, if you accepted the way I think of things, we would get along so much better. Things would be so much better for us if you were like me. I think that's our tendency. I think I've tried to fight that in myself. Well, I'm not sure that I fought it in myself. Like I said, I have 5 daughters, a wife and 5 daughters. They're going to pretty much tell me who they're going to be. It's an interesting thing to consider. The world wants me to be a particular person. My flesh wants to submit to the world in a particular way. It wants to be satisfied. I know some of you observe Lent, and that's a whole other conversation in itself, but the idea of fasting, if I used to, at this time of year, think, well, I'll just give up Pepsi. That was my bold sacrifice. That was my bold fast for the time. I'll give up Pepsi. Well, anytime that you want to think that you're in control of something, just deny your flesh, deny your body, deny it food. If I deny my body food, it revolts against me, and it doesn't take very long. After just a few hours, I get headaches, I get attitude change, I might get weak. And I understand, probably there's some people that have health issues that probably shouldn't fast, but my point is just deny your flesh something. Deny your flesh food, and you'll quickly see that you're not in that much control. So try to change your habit. Just try to change a habit. If your body, if your flesh, if your mind is in the habit of getting up from your bed, if you make it that far, going to the couch, flipping on the old westerns, and sitting there till noon or whatever, and then you get your lunch, and maybe you flip on some other news program or something for the afternoon. Deny your flesh that. Tell your flesh, no, today we're going to get up and we're going to walk a lap. Today we're going to get up and go grocery shopping. Today we're going to get up and do some exercises. You deny your flesh what you've let it become habituated to, what you've let it become used to, and you'll soon find out you're not really in that much control, because it revolts against you. That's the way your flesh joins with the world. And for me, I think a lot of people have this conviction, but for me, I see it as a Christian walk, that there's a conviction inside of me that God has called me to be different from the world. So in as many and as much as I possibly can, I resist just the general direction of the world. I resist the teachings of the world. I resist the movements of the world and follow Him. And this isn't really one of those blanket statements that you can just pick out blacks and whites. You know, certainly there's some things that are acceptable, but it's just how comfortable are we getting in those places? And is it a benefit for us to be comfortable in those places, or should we be trying to move away from those things and be who we're really called to be? To be ourselves in a world that is constantly trying to make us something we're not is a great accomplishment. I'm sure after trudging through the snow, I've mangled that quote, but you'll forgive me. As a born-again Christ follower, I'm called to be who He wants me to be in this world. He wants me to be someone who brings glory to His name. Am I pursuing that? Am I pursuing that in a world that wants me to be something else? Sun's out, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy this day. Enjoy the blessings that God's given you. Feel that. Love y'all.